What's up everybody? Today I'm going to show you guys another comp that I'm playing with in terms of Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. This is a variant of the double counter comp that has been set up by my man Band. I think he's maybe been on some thing with Kizzle showcasing his account recently. In any case, he runs a double counter team with Valkyrie and Skullcrusher, and then Bad Alcazar, Draco, and Altan. Now, I'm not blessed to have Draco, but I do have the other four, and in lieu of Draco, I have set up a pretty robust Rhazin who's going to give me a chunk of the damage. Now, he has a couple things that are a little better off than me in his setup. If I real quickly go into the champions, his Bad Alcazar has about 60 or 70% more crit damage, so that will of course give him a little bit more damage out of Bad Alcazar. Likewise, his Altan has a little bit more crit damage than mine too. He maybe is like 170 or 180 if I'm not mistaken. Otherwise, very similar in terms of setup with Altan. His Valkyrie is geared quite a bit better than mine. That's a place where there's a good size difference. My Valkyrie is about 7,000, maybe 7,100 defense. His is at 8,000, and my crit rate and crit damage are a little bit lower than his as well. So those are some of the differences. I think too he has maybe just a tad more crit damage on his Skullcrusher, and definitely a higher crit rate. So essentially, my setup will survive as long. I'm not going to get quite as much damage output from the main guys. My replacement, since I don't have Draco, is Rhazin Scarhide. He's set up. He's 100% crit and 230% crit damage. I'm running him in Stalwart, which gives him a fair amount more survivability than his 4,100 defense and 34k hit points would let on. So I'll go ahead now and just do a run. These, pretty much are going from 35 to 41 million in the ones that I've run so far. I'm just going to go ahead and give this a real quick run. You set this up. You're going to have Altan be the lead. He is also going to be the one who takes the stun. After Altan, I'm going to go ahead and put Rhazin. I'm going to put Bad L, and then we will do Skullcrusher and Valkyrie. Now, one thing that I have done differently with this team is my speeds are a little bit different setups. I do have my two counterattack champions and Bad Alcazar going in the normal 190 ranges, and then my Valkyrie is the slowest of those. Then I am running Altan, and I am running Rhazin in the 170 range right now. Because of that, I'm just going to run them through initially so that they will get onto a normal rotation and be able to be used in an automated fashion following the first turn if I want to. So this setup, it's pretty much pure damage. There's, Bad Alcazar is the only poisoner in the setup, and his damage is not exceptionally high considering he has no extender or anything. So all this damage is really predicated upon doing a lot of damage with the War Master and Giant Slayer and with the regular attacks. And right now, the way I've got it set up, the number one hitter I have is Rhazin, and he's going to be the one I'm calling on to do the majority of the damage in this particular comp and setup. So I'm going to run this through. I did skip the defense up on Altan, so it is up when he comes around. I believe with the speed setup as it currently is, he's just a smidgen faster than Bad Alcazar in terms of attack order on the third turn for maybe one more, and I don't want to screw up the order. So now he's going to get cleansed by Bad Alcazar, and then I will put his defense down, and from here on in I can just run this on auto. Now this is a particularly long run. You will see that once this gets going, Raz should be able to hit for some real good numbers. My expectation is that on his actual attacks, if he's using his A1 by itself, you'll see him hit some. He should be able to hit up over 50k, 60k, even in some cases. So his range is really good. With Altan and with Draco, running them at the slower speed is really aimed at just giving me more opportunities to get them better crit damage. Altan, I'm probably going to take another pass at and see if I can't scavenge up some better gear to use on him so that he is his crit rate's 80%, which is respectable, but his crit damage is pretty low. So my goal will be to at least get his crit rate up to 100%, and then also improve the crit damage marginally. I have left him in Lifesteal too. He's most of these champs are in Lifesteal. Really, they don't need to be. I think the only one that I really absolutely feel has to be is Altan, and I might leave Skullcrusher in Lifesteal too, just because after his hit, I'd like to have every possible chance to heal himself up, because once you get late in the fight, as you'll see, we'll be taking a lot more damage. So again, the speeds I'm using on this team, the fastest is Bad Alcazar at 198. Then I have Skullcrusher at 194, Valkyrie at 193, and Rhazin at 176, and Altan at 174. It's going to go quite a few turns. This will go all the way up to the 50 turns where he ignores Skullcrusher's unkillable. So you will see that Skullcrusher will most certainly die, and he may be the first one who dies, depending on the setup. There are times that Altan does die early, from a crush. Once you get pretty late in the rotation, you'll see that there's certainly some, risks with that. This is super long. I'm going to just let it keep running here. It will take probably another 3 or 4 minutes at least to finish up. It's typically about a 10-minute fight to go through to the end. You're going to see more of the same until we get into the late 40s. As you can see, it's doing, better than on average than 700,000 per turn. Right now, it's actually riding higher than that. It's gonna start getting near to 800,000 per turn. Won't get much higher than this, unfortunately. This is without improving the crit rate on Skullcrusher and on Altan and improving their crit damage. That's really the only path I could go. I suppose another alternative would be to experiment with Rhazin in one of the sets that ignores damage. It would probably have to be Savage, because I don't think he's going to benefit enough from the Cruel to use it on him. Still, this is a real consistent, albeit a lot slower than my normal team path to a 2-key Ultimate Nightmare. If you've seen my other runs, my other teams are usually dead by turn 32, 33. They don't last very deep into the fight, but they do a ton of damage. And this team is most definitely not that way. This is a nice and slow survival, but it does do pretty steady damage, as you can see. And you're getting Rhazin. He hits like a truck. His A1 hits for 61, 62 in his current gear setup on max hits, and pretty respectable otherwise. I have other setups where I run, where I do use Valkyrie too. I've tried Valkyrie working with my Turvold comp, of course without the debuff extenders, because I can't get attack down and other buffs without other champions there. So what I've done is Rhazin, Valkyrie, Turvold, and Badel, and Altan. It works good, but not great. At some point, Valkyrie's shield breaks down, and somebody who you don't want killed is killed. and the damage output isn't high enough to make up for the lack of debuff extensions. We're starting to get up here into the kind of danger zone where his attacks can wipe things out. So as you can see, his AoE completely destroyed Skullcrusher, but since he's unkillable, he still is surviving through that. And once he gets covered up with a massive shield, he'll be good to go. As you can see, we're nearing the end. I have had instances now where on this particular crush, he does kill Altan. With the extra shield he's holding right now, I don't think that's going to happen, though. He should be in pretty good shape here. And with that, what you're going to probably see is one more time around, basically. Ooh, he might kill Skullcrusher, yeah. Alright, this is going to end up wiping earlier than normal here, I think. And it's going to sit around 39 million. This is kind of the ballpark range I see. I see, like I said, anywhere between 35.5 to 41. If it went the full term, I'd get a couple more million out of it, and it would have sat at 41. But clearly, you can see that Rhazin does a tremendous amount of damage here, and you can kind of ride this out pretty easily to a 2-key ultimate nightmare. So hopefully this gives you some ideas about a team if you do have the double counter. A setup that you can do if you don't have a top flight poisoner. That may be kind of unusual, actually, that an account has the quality of champions to have a double counter but doesn't have a top flight poisoner. But that's the kind of boat that I'm in, so hopefully this is helpful to